Okay, NAB first day, and super excited to interview the man himself, the legend, the After Effects god, Andrew Kramer. Thank you so much for doing this interview.
Absolutely. How you doing?
I'm good. So, I mean, I'm sure you get a lot of that. You know, every After Effects guy. I mean, once you get up there, you basically pack the place.
Yeah.
And we're all just happy that you're here and you're sharing your knowledge and stuff.
Right on. Yeah, and it's afterwards you get to talk to some people who are, say Video Copilot fans, but what they really are people who have learned After Effects and they put in this hard work and they're like, hey, I have a job because I watch some videos, and I think, dude, these guys work their butts off to learn a program, to get the skills, to get a job. So it's like a cool thing for me to like see these guys and girls like turn into a great job.
Yeah.
So it's for me it's rewarding. It's not just like, can I get a picture? It's like, hey, I learned a valuable skill and now I'm doing something with it. So it's really, really cool.
Yeah, cool. So I was online the other day. So I'm a cinema guy, right? But you do Element 3D.
Yep.
A company I worked for a long time ago, we purchased Element 3D when it first came out. We were really excited about it. And I recently just went online and watched the Element 3D version 2 video or 2.5, and I gotta say, there are some killer features in there. And so you tease this in your, I don't know if you were supposed to tease it or not, but there's some big stuff coming with displacement, is that correct?
Yeah, we're working on some experimental new features that I think will give Element another level of organic creation. And obviously, if you can use displacement on a surface in real time, you can create a lot of really interesting things. So we're sort of working on the tech because obviously you have different types of meshes and different types of surfaces, and you want to make sure that the edges stay connected. And there's a lot of technical things involved with it that we're working out. But as far as the feature, it's super powerful, and displacement stuff is just fun to look at.
Yeah, absolutely. So where do you see the future going? Future of either MoGraph or future of After Effects, or we just brought in Cinema 4D just brought in the Renderer 2 After Effects. Where do you see like this whole system going?
Well, I think I'm not trying to predict the future, but I think the rendering technology is very amazing, right? Whether it's Octane or Redshift, there's amazing technology to do your rendering, and there's new ones maybe every day, maybe every other day.
Yeah.
I'm not sure the chronology there. But at the end of the day, the results that people are going to get between renderers is not going to be that different. It's going to be amazing. So what does that mean? Well, it just means that the quality of content is going to have to push past that, right? Because everybody's going to have access to a renderer. You can make a cool renderer every day with Octane that has great vibe and texture and feel. And once that becomes the new norm, then there'll have to be another sort of revolution to take that to the next level. And so I'm not sure what that will be, but I think people who are learning it right now should begin to think about, okay, well, where can I take this? Where can I go after I've learned these skills?
So tell me a little bit about the background of Element 3D. Like, why did you decide to go all out? Like, basically throw all your cards on the table and say, we're not going to be like teaching, because you've got a few tutorials about 3ds Max on your site, and you've also got a Cinema 4D tutorial. What was it that made you decide, I don't want to keep doing tutorials on these 3D render engines, I want to create my own, and incorporate it into After Effects? I mean, I gotta imagine that's a daunting task to do something like that.
Sure. So our philosophy from the beginning was, how do we create cool things that are available to a lot of people? And I think the barrier to entry, even now for a lot of 3D software, is quite high. And you always see someone say, how do I do this? And you say, well, the answer to that is about $3,000 worth of software and training, and that's sometimes a prohibitive, point that you can't get beyond. And so we thought, what are some common things that people want to be able to create what would be an advantage to developing a system that's OpenGL based with ray trace shadows and some really cool things, but that maybe doesn't rely on providing every avenue of a technology like a full-fledged software like Cinema 4D. What could we do to give people some of that great 3D-ness without requiring a larger barrier to entry? And then once we developed it, we realized, like, wow, the workflow of this technology is so fast that even people who are talented Cinema 4D artists have run across projects where they got to jam something out. And so we began to develop more professionally oriented features like, animation and Cinema 4D importing with more features and just other things that would give you that bridge, right? You always have to say, okay, guys, here's our project. What are the requirements? What's the art? How much time do we have?
Yeah.
Okay, well, how are we going to do this? Well, we'll do these shots in cinema, and we'll do these close-up, shots with some depth of field, and we'll do these ones in Element and After Effects, so we can render those faster. We can look to develop. We know a lot of designers that will use Element to just look develop, get the look right, get the colors, because working in After Effects for a lot of people can be, I like to say Element works at compositing speed. So move that light. No, I'm not missing about. So you're making decisions about the overall feel of something at the compositing level, where you have access to the glows and the other effects that make the end result complete, like adding text and different things to get the look. So being able to work within After Effects and access that tool set with having enough 3D. Like I just did a shot for my presentation where there's an energy blast that shoots at a car, and I was going to put a car in the background, but I was like, I got this 3D kind of car that I made in Element. I'll throw it in there, add a little bit of a bounce to it so it looks like the car's getting impacted. I mean, it did that in maybe an hour. That's something. Is that going to be a hero shot? Can you get really close to that car? Is that going to sell? Maybe, maybe not. But when you have a scene where it's an element that adds to it, it's a set extension. It's something that I don't have to source to a degree that would require me a lot more work. I can just knock it out quickly. And that's really where our philosophy was, and that's the way that it sort of evolved with the user base.
Cool. Okay, so let me ask you this. That one that you were just talking about with the car one, you made the joke about, like, this is the Wilhelm scream of fire. So, you're very popular among the After Effects artists, especially like, optical flares. That's like a big one. Are you ever watching TV and you go, shit, there's the JJ? I see it around occasionally. There's this other one that I think I see probably more than that one. But yeah, you see it, and sometimes I think it's used extremely well. Other times I'm like, that's shameless, but man, you go. I like it. That's fine.
I never discourage people. Like, just make stuff. Sometimes you got to make stuff that you're not, gonna put on your reel, and you just look. I'm not here to judge. Just get out there and do your best.
Cool. All right, man. I thank you for taking the time so much.
Right on.
All right.